I bet.
So welcome everyone. This is Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Ven story beginner any percent on the Sony PlayStation 3. It is quite the mouthful. Um it's the first Birth by Sleep run you'll be seeing tonight. So it's a bit exciting. But it's nothing like any of the other runs you'll see. And so we're going to start in 3, 2, 1. Boom.
Alright, good luck, boy.
Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Ooh. So there's a whole lot of load screens on this game. Like, holy moly. Isn't it
And
like...
some of them are quite long.
Yeah. Like, isn't, without loads, isn't the Aqua Crit time, like, 20 minutes shorter or something like that?
Yeah, it's a lot shorter.
And I'm pretty sure Ven's run has even more loads than that, so it's,
Yeah, there's like a point at the end after you beat Hook that there's like 15 cutscene skips in a row.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
It's ridiculous. Okay, I screwed up that start of this. What? Wait. Huh? Did we get 2 waves spawning at the same... No. Okay, apparently...
You killed both waves, yeah.
Simultaneously? That was really weird. That was the fastest orbs I've ever done. Okay.
Yeah, that was something.
Did I, like, skip a wave or something? I'm really confused. Or, like...
Yeah, I don't know. You
I-
use one fast. That's all that really matters.
That's our whole... Yeah, I guess that's the start. That's really, like, the theme of what happens with BBS, though, isn't it? Like, a lot of stuff is like, did that really just happen? Like, I've just had way too many runs in my life where, like, something has just happened out of the blue. Like, either a bad thing, like a death that should never have happened, or, like, something weird and really good, like crazy good RNG or something. Oh man, it's time for the Dwarves minigame. Do you want to explain the Dwarves minigame when we get there, KH fan, or should I?
I can.
Alright, cool.
Yeah, but the first world we're gonna go to is Dwarf Woodlands. It's the only world the game gives you to go to at the start.
Yeah, after that we open up a little bit more. Get a couple of, like, choke points where you have to go to a world, but there's a few times where you can explore a little bit and pick and choose where you want to go.
So do you do mini strats or no?
For the Snow White?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Yeah, I picked up the
I
mini
wasn't sure
strats.
because there's a little bit of a route difference for some people.
Yeah, I watched Sonic's run and figured out how to do it and decided, why not? Let's do it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's kind of
I just
cool
don't.
to be able to,
Yeah, I
like,
just
skip.
don't feel like. Yeah.
Oh yeah, like it's definitely something that feels really inconsistent a lot of the time, or like not
Yeah.
that worth it. But
Yeah, I just don't feel like doing an extra menu or like doing an extra part of a menu or something like that.
yeah,
But yeah, this is the dwarves minigame. You basically have to go around and find all the dwarves. There's 7 of them?
6 of them in here, I
Yeah,
think.
there's 7, doesn't it? 6 of them in here, that's what I thought, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, you have to break the boxes that they're in. And basically he's gonna kill this flood to get a chance at the aqua dealing drop because that's something that's very important in this run.
So far, haven't had that kind of luck yet, but we'll see. I'm gonna wait here. Cool. Sneezy is always a huge concern for me.
Mm-hmm.
So here we've got Sleepy. Oh, I got a crit hit. Okay, cool.
But yeah, basically we're going to be using Aqua's Healing a lot throughout this run because the finisher does a lot of damage, and once we get the first upgrade, we'll get access to Magnet, which is really good for crowds, like a lot when there's multiple enemies and stuff like that.
Oh my gosh, I'm having incredibly bad luck here. Gonna have to figure out what to do. Okay. Was just short on the D-Link gauge. But that works out.
Okay, so basically he just goes in for a double kill there, because the finisher can hit both of them when you're standing right there.
Yeah. I think the fastest time I've ever done that segment, I didn't go for the double kill just because I caught the minecart dwarf on his way around the bend.
It can be slightly faster to get the minecart one first, and then shot lock the one that's right to the left.
Yeah, but it can be really risky too.
Yeah. So right here he's gonna put sliding dash and then mini. Sliding dash we just use for like a bit of movement tech, and we also need to meld it later for
Payback surge, I think.
Counter rush. Yeah, payback raid I think it is.
Yeah, payback raid.
We'll be getting EXP boost on that.
Yeah, that used to be kind of theme throughout all of the all 3 runs, is getting an abounding crystal and getting some kind of command with Experience Walker. Terra has since removed it, if I remember right.
Yeah, we removed it because you have like literally like 3 enemies that can drop it, and it's pretty RNG.
Yeah.
Whereas with Aqua and Ven, you can go into the Snow White D-Link and use Lucky Strike and get one pretty consistently.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then yeah, but EXP Walker has been kind of the center for at least Ven and Aqua routing like the entire time. Yeah. Even I think with Nanner's route or the grinding route with Aqua Beginner, we still
do get
EXP
it. Walker, yes.
Yeah, because it comes in handy.
Mm-hmm. So this little like mini game escort thing, it's like you can manipulate when Snow White stops sometimes, because sometimes if you kill an enemy, she'll just walk right past certain things, and you can speed it up. And, Abandon's using mini strats, which makes it like, easier to kill some of the enemies sometimes, because you can just walk right over them instead of having to hit some of them.
Yeah. Here's where I've always been confused. I wish there were like a more consistent or a way to get rid of both trees at the same time, but I've never seen anyone do it, so I'm assuming that it's just not possible. Maybe you have to like stop Snow White like with the other set of trees, but again, I don't think it's actually possible. It would just be a very convenient thing to have. And here we're gonna do the other tree skip.
Yeah, so basically to skip this tree, you can just hit this strapper out of the way, and Snow White will walk right past the tree.
And I unfortunately got the glitch.
Yeah, there's a glitch where you're supposed to get the kind of reaction command on this tree, but it just doesn't show up. Oh wait, you got a different glitch.
I got like the reaction command to show up for like a half a second, and then...
Oh, okay, okay, that is what happened then, yeah.
Yeah. No, the other thing that was just screwing me up is Flood decided to be bold and follow after Snow White, even though I thought that he had already been gone. And now we come up to Mad Treant, and we just see pretty much how powerful Flame Salvo is, even early before it's all the way leveled up. It's still a pretty strong force to be reckoned with.
Very powerful shot lock. So basically for this boss fight, we use a full Flame Salvo at the start, or like you charge up to 14 or 15, whichever you want. And then we try to get into Fever Pitch, which is Ven's like basic command style that he starts off with. And just do a bunch of combos on him. And then once he gets like kind of to like a little less than a bar left, like less than half a bar left, you want to Flame Salvo again and finish him up.
Yeah, I always go for 11 with that shot lock just because it does the same as I think like a 14 does. And it uses less shot lock gauge, so it makes it a little bit safer to try to finish him off with it. Of course, I'm getting the double angry tree.
Yeah, so some of the bosses in this game, they have like a charge up move where they just become completely invincible. And you can't really do anything.
But that was not too bad of a fight.
You know, still a pretty good fight.
I've definitely had much worse than that.
Yeah. He has other moves where he can start like flying around and throwing stuff at you and stuff.
And then the poison puddles, which
That too.
I've had too many bad experiences with Ven crit with that.
Definitely.
So now we're coming up to like the one big grinding section of the run. After this, we really don't do any extra grinding except for like briefly in Radiant Garden for the hopes of getting an extra Shimmering Crystal drop.
Yeah.
But it's the fabled Castle of Dreams.
Yeah, Castle of Dreams just kind of decides, for the most part, like if how good your run is going to be, depending on if you get Shimmering Crystal drops right away.
Yeah, and Fleeting Crystal drops even come in handy.
Crystals too. But yeah, the whole like thing about this run is we want Shimmering Crystals so that we can get fire boosts, because our goal is to make fire surges and then use them on like bosses and stuff.
Yeah, so we want fire boosts from making Thyras, which we'll do in a little bit, and we want attack hastes from making the fire surges and one of the Cura, or when we make a Cura.
Yeah.
And that usually leads to a pretty efficient final set of fights, unless Vanitas decides to be his own kind of trouble, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, we don't have to deal with that just yet.
Yeah, thankfully we've got roughly another hour.
Yeah. So here's gonna sell Quick Blitz and then Mini to get enough money to buy 5 fires and then a cure, which sets us up to make 3 Fyras and then a Cura later.
And then we do some pretty interesting movement. Definitely
Right here.
screwed me up the first time. Trying to get up to the flood with his ether chest. I don't even remember like what the intended way to do it is, but I think it involves like going around the mouse holes and stuff like that.
Yeah. So you have to go like all the way around and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's really weird.
So you're using some sliding dash movement tech just to get these 2 dress pieces real quick. We use the sliding dash that we have, and then he goes into the terror dealing to use another sliding dash to get across both little like gaps, I guess.
And now the grinding begins. This is the most enjoyable part if it goes well, or most frustrating if it doesn't go well. Basically, we're going to try to get Aqua D-Link leveled up, because, like we mentioned earlier, that's basically the most important part of the run. On the off chance that we don't hit level 2, there's just some kind of... There's not like any official strats that I know of, it's just kind of like, give it your best shot.
Yeah, kind of weird without the second level up.
Fortunately, I've actually never had a run that hasn't gotten it eventually.
Yeah. If you don't get it here, usually you get it in like one of the force fights right after, because
Yeah. Usually during
you
goons.
fight a lot of enemies.
I'm getting really screwed over by these
Yeah.
cruisers, but it's gonna be okay. Unfortunately, we have yet to see the demon drop, though. Right, and here's where we're gonna take advantage of finishers, like especially the Aqua D-Link finisher, as we saw during the Dwarfs minigame, and now here is just kinda broken. So I'm gonna switch out of D-Link there. try to both preserve the dealing gauge and maybe give myself another shot at getting the second drop before leaving the room.
Yeah, so you can't get, if you get one dealing upgrade, you can't get another one without leaving and re-entering the dealing. The game won't give it to you.
Yeah, it's a really weird feature or bug. Yeah, mechanic. That's the word I was looking for there.
That's the word.
So we're gonna make our first fire, the first of hopefully three that have fire boosts. We'll see. Worst case scenario, there's a backup shimmering crystal, but I'd rather not get that.
Yeah, it takes about like 30 seconds to get.
Something like that, yeah.
It's not ideal. So basically in this grinding, we're just leveling up our fires to get some fire res, and then we're getting about 110 EXP away from level 7, so we actually do decent damage until like Radiant Garden. Or really for
yeah.
the rest
Basically,
of the game.
setting up to that mostly means you never should need to kill any extra enemies, save for possibly in what's it called? Neverland. Okay, there we finally got the drop. And I accidentally used Magic Volley as I was picking it up. I was trying to use the finisher. Oh well. It's a small cost, a small price to pay for a really good setup. Alright. This should hopefully be the last time going through the room.
Some
I think
Magic
it's like...
Volley kind of
Oh yeah, Magic Volley is an interesting
really slow.
finisher. I'm not a huge fan, but
Yeah, the level 1 finisher is really broken though.
yeah. I did not see how close I am to next level, so we'll... Okay, now I'm good.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, yeah, we're making pretty good time.
Yeah, you're perfectly fine on the XP.
Yeah, just hit like 103 to next level or something, which is perfect. I like to be just under 110 in case something goes wrong, but can't really think of any places where I could lose EXP.
Oh yeah, what Sonic said. When you have like a party member with you, like maybe Mickey, if he kills something, you won't get the EXP or CP from it, which kind of
Yeah, but I can't
sucks sometimes.
Can't think of any fights that actually have that. I guess
Yeah,
Town near Thebes, the Olympus Coliseum forced fight. But I think that's the only one.
That's the only one in this run.
Which is really fortunate.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the number of runs I've had die with Aqua. Back when I was running it, to Mickey deciding he was going to steal an extra kill.
In that shop menu, Abandon bought 4 sleeps just to use them on Ventus, which is coming up soon. Well, not soon, after Another World, but yeah.
Pretty soon, though, relative to the run.
It's soon, yeah. This is Lucifer, and this fight, it's like kind of dependent on what
he decides to do, yeah. Fortunately, we're getting pretty good luck. It just depends on what... Okay, that's not a bad place for him to jump. Didn't even have to use the second flame salvo. Perfect.
And then, yeah, we're gonna drop a Mind Square, and hopefully he'll jump into it, and yeah, just take a bunch of damage.
Yeah. Yeah. Mind Square is just one of the most broken commands, and it's great that Aqua's D-Link at level 2 has it, because it makes a lot of things go really fast in her run, and so as a result it makes things go really fast in this run as well, whenever we get to use it. So that was Castle of Dreams. Now we're heading to Enchanted Dominion. Gonna have a lot of movement early on, and then we're gonna do one forced fight, a little bit more movement, and fight Maleficent. So it's a pretty short, open and closed kind of world. I'm still remembering back before the rerouting when it used to be recommended that if we didn't have shimmering crystals, we kill extra enemies here.
Yeah, you can go into Snow White dealing and try to use a lucky strike on these
Red Hot Chilies. Yeah.
Yeah, but there's not that high of a chance of them dropping, so it's kind of just a waste of time. For
Yeah,
the most
it's
part.
not really worth it. The only time I could see using Snow White D-Link being useful for that would be, I guess, when you're already in it for the Abounding Crystal, if a blue sea salt happens to come close, but they still have an incredibly low drop rate, so I've never actually seen it come from them either. So since we spent so much time grinding up to level 7, or almost level 7, we can just kind of say, see you guys to all the enemies that we would go past. I know it certainly as a casual playthrough, it's really tempting to go fight all these guys, but on beginner you really don't need to do that. I mean, at level 6, it's still really easy to just plow through most of this run. For the early part. So we're going to try to make use of some well-placed sliding dashes here and there to go as fast as possible. A really neat thing about sliding dash is if you hit an enemy while you're going through the animation, you can cancel the finishing bit of the animation, where Ven like swings his keyblade around and up, and instead you can dodge roll right out of it. It's called an action dodge roll if I recall correctly, and it makes movement a little bit faster if we happen to hit an enemy with dodge rolls.
Is there actually a
sliding
word
dash.
for that?
I've heard it called like action cartwheel for Aqua, so I'm sure it's. I would imagine it would be called,
Yeah.
action dodge for Ven.
So in this fight right here, you're just fighting a bunch of Maleficent's goons, and they die pretty easily in magic. So we're just going to Aqua's healing and just kind of spam magic on them. And what you can try to do is you can try to aim Blizzard so it'll hit multiple of them, because after it hits one of them, it keeps going. It doesn't disappear right away.
Yeah, that's the really nice thing about Blizzard, is it just kind of doesn't care about what gets in its way. It's a giant block of ice. I'm missing one enemy. Where are you? Oh, there you are. This happened in the in my practice run earlier, but that worked out fine. I always forget that the last goon comes from the, I guess it's the side you're facing when you spawn in the force fight.
Did you kill an extra goon because you're one?
I'm gonna kill 2 of them right here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. That's the thing.
Yeah, I've had way too many. Like, even if it wasn't a thing, I would have killed them anyway because I've had them knock me down way too many times.
Yeah, I've also had that happen a bunch.
Those goons that I just killed can hit you off that platform, and if that happens to you, you're kind of just sorry out of luck. I'm sure there are other ways to get the Fleeting Crystal or to get the Tornado Strike. Like, I'm sure you could do something like with Aqua trying to get the Ice Barrage chest.
Well, you can lock onto one of the goons up top and swing, and it'll bring you up.
That too.
Yeah.
I just
That's
always.
Like my little backup. It's just kind of weird.
I just always reset when that happened to me because
It's a bit of a time waster, yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit of a time waster, and it's just really upsetting to get knocked down.
Yeah. So back there, Abandon picked up the Fleeting Crystal chest, but then he did like that kind of sequence break with the sliding dash to get Tornado Strike.
Yeah.
Because that sells for a lot of money, and we need that for magnets. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's only magnets.
Magnets and binding strikes, but I think we have enough for binding strikes before that.
Yeah.
And now we're just going into the Maleficent fight. Hopefully she gives us really good RNG. If she decides to go straight to the center of the arena, it's the best RNG possible, because she'll go into her sleep DM. And when that happens, you can get off a flame salvo and then the reaction with the fairies. Otherwise, it's kind of pray that this goes well. And she was really nice. Awesome.
So there's actually a glitch with this reaction command with the fairies that if they try to go to the same spot that you're standing at when you're doing like a shot lock, or you're just like standing there, they won't drop down to their RC and they kind of just fly away, and you're kind of out of luck.
That was really unfortunate. I was one hit away from killing her as quickly as possible, but still worked out nice and quick.
Yeah, still killed her way before she got into any of her other attacks.
Yeah, thankfully. Wait, so did they actually find out how that glitch works? Like, is it just whenever they happen to pick the spot that you're already in?
If they just like somehow pick the spot that you're in, they just go away.
Huh. Oh, I thought you were talking about the other glitch, the one where people have like fallen through the floor.
Oh, where you fall through. I don't know how that one works.
Yeah, it's only happened to like 2 people before,
yeah.
if I remember right. Like, I think it's happened to Accents and maybe it was Shiv?
Maybe, yeah. You kind of just like fall to the floor and you don't know why.
Yeah. So now we're going to do one of my least favorite things, and that's opening up a menu in between worlds. You have to go through 2 loading screens when that happens, and as we've mentioned, loading screens in this game are just incredibly slow. So ideally, you go straight into a menu whenever you get the chance on a planet, or on a world, but...
on a world. There, we have to do it.
Yeah, for the fastest fight here, we have to take that bit of a unfortunate time waste.
Too slow.
In this first half of the fight, we're kind of just gonna let him hit us so we can get to the second part faster, because we can do more damage in the second part. We actually put him to sleep and then just allow Mickey to do all the damage for us in the second part.
Yeah, Mickey can be really friendly, but sometimes he can just decide that he doesn't want to do the work that he's supposed to do. Had a couple of fights before where he's decided he wants to team up like 2 or 3 times in the fight, and I'm just sitting there like, Mickey, this isn't what you're supposed to be doing. But there are times too where he doesn't do any of that reaction command let's team up stuff, and it works out amazing. And we caught him right in the first sleep, so that was really good. Oh shoot! Oh shoot! So something's happened with my sleep commands, like the order that they're in, and which one's ready. I really don't know how I did that myself, but that almost made the fight go a lot worse. And I just wasn't paying attention to his health bar there, I apologize. But that was a pretty quality fight.
Yeah, he didn't break out at all. Good fight.
Yeah. Almost did, but...
He almost did. It was close.
So we're about to get the Abounding Crystal that we were talking about earlier. There's going to be 3 little rabbit-looking enemies known as mandrakes sitting in the ground in the second room we walk into here. And they have a pretty high drop rate for Abounding Crystals. On top of that, they can also drop Auroras, and if we get both of them, that's just really good luck. But most importantly, we need to get the Abounding Crystal, so hopefully we get it first throw.
This is a spot where there's a couple of blue sea salts like chilling over there. So like, as like a backup strat, you can use this with the lucky strike on them, but it's not really that worth it unless he like comes right over to you.
He came right over, but I just didn't want to waste that time.
Yeah.
I'm already gonna have to do something to make up for the missing D-Link.
Mm-hmm. So like usually we kill a couple floods to get D-Link back up here.
Yeah, but I don't know if I'll have enough.
Yeah, you should be able to get enough.
From oh, okay, these floods. I was thinking of the floods in Fountain Court. But yeah, these guys should be able to get me enough.
Yeah.
4 of them. We'll take that time loss. Yeah, perfect.
But actually, if you have like virtually no D-Link there, it's faster to just leave the world completely right here and then just
re-enter.
Yeah, leave and re-enter. It's a lot faster than killing like a bunch of stuff.
Yeah. So now we're coming up at probably the biggest shop menu. Yeah, it's definitely the biggest shop menu of the run.
Yeah.
Gonna sell a few commands. I think I picked up an Aurora during that Bounding Crystal grind.
Yeah, I think so.
So that'll be a nice extra 300 money. Gonna sell that Tornado Strike we picked up, Aurora that we picked up, and all the sleeves that we have, because we don't need those anymore. And we'll buy 2 Binding Strikes and 4 Magnets. And then
He's buying 4 magnets so that we can get 2 Magneras, because we need... Well, basically this route is Magnera route, which we get 2 Magneras so that we can skip going into the Aqua D-Link a whole bunch of times, because of D-Link loads taking about like 7 seconds every time you go into one in this game. Saves a lot of time just cutting that out by just getting your own magnets and stuff.
Yeah, it's a nice and efficient way to do it. And then we're gonna kill a few blue sea assaults in the upcoming room, just in the hopes of getting hopefully 1, maybe even 2 Shimmering Crystal drops.
Yeah.
They have a decent drop chance, but in more runs than not, I have not picked up another Shimmering Crystal. Maybe they'll be nice. And we can also hope for, from the Chrono Twister, the hourglass-shaped enemies, possibility of getting a fleeting crystal drop, which would be a really nice plus to have as well.
Yeah, we want extra fleetings because we can get a magic case on the
Magnera.
Because there's 3 chests, there's 3 fleeting chests, which means we can guarantee 3 attack case, but we want extras just for the possibility of magic case.
Yeah, unfortunately we did not see it, so gonna have to do some interesting things here with this menu. Maybe we can see a fire boost happen with the fires, but that looks like it did not happen. Can also pray for a magic haste to come out of one of the Magneras. Nope. This is a very low ability run, but that's okay.
Yeah, at least we're guaranteed 2 fire boosts, because before we found out about the backup Shimmering Crystal chest, some runs you just go with one fire boost and your damage is quite low compared to what it could be.
Yeah, it's abysmal. I remember times where, back before we knew about the extra one, I lost something like 40 seconds in final fights.
Yeah.
Or on each final fight split. It
Each
was,
fight, it
yeah,
was like a lot of time.
it was ridiculous. And I believe it was Rebelwatt who made the discovery of or who remembered the backup shimmering.
I think it was Rebel Dragon.
Or yeah, Rebel Dragon, sorry, wrong Rebel.
Yeah.
I don't know why, but I always mix the two up in my head. And now we have Trinity Armor, one of my least favorite fights, at least for Ven.
Yeah, on Ben, this fight's kind of slow.
It's funny because I think they're like, ultimately at least between Aqua and Ven, like the same amount of time roughly, but it just feels for whatever reason a lot slower on Ven to me.
Yeah. Terra just does like so much damage here with his fires, like Firestorm and stuff.
Yeah, Terra's just a machine when it comes to these.
But basically you want to get into Firestorm, and then you want to try to knock out the legs before he splits apart, because that'll stop him from doing an attack where all three parts just kind of spin around and you can't knock them out of it. It's a big time waster.
It's a huge time waster. It's a potential, like, actual killer in Aqua. It's not as bad in Ven, thankfully. I'm just not doing much damage here. This is really sad.
Yeah.
I think I've done more damage to the arms or something. Cool, I still made it work though.
Yeah, as long as you knock out those legs, you can get a pretty decent fight. This move where he's just kind of spinning and then sending lasers out and he's completely invincible.
Yeah, there's no point even trying to attack him there. Ooh, I'm gonna have to figure out what to do here. I hesitated before using Firestorm. So I'm just not using it, and should be able to finish him off with a Flame Salvo.
Yeah, that could be a big problem with this fight. If you whip a Firestorm finisher, that's a whole bunch of damage you just missed out on.
Yeah. Fortunately, that wasn't too bad.
Yeah, luckily Flame Salvo can finish him off.
Yeah, Flame Salvo continues to put in a lot of work. I think it's just kind of a really good way to deal a lot of damage to enemies, especially enemies that are in the middle of an attack.
Yeah.
For the majority of the run.
And the fact that Flame Salvo is like affected by fire boosts really helps.
Yeah, it's a huge bonus. So now we're gonna have a cute little forced fight coming up. Gonna just basically take advantage of our Magneras and Fyras and let these enemies have it. It's a nice, quick little encounter.
Yeah, it's kind of all the encounters with Magnera, kind of just quick little fights.
Yeah.
Magnera makes quick work of them.
Yeah, Magnera is probably one of the most broken, if not the most broken, magic command of this game.
Yeah.
most broken overall is probably Fire Surge, though. Fire and Thunder
Yeah, like
Surge.
surges.
They just
surges really do a lot.
give you, they do so much damage, they get boosted, and they have like so many iframes.
Mm-hmm.
So we're gonna hope to see a Shimmering Crystal drop from one of these groups of enemies that can drop it. If it doesn't happen, it's not the end of the world, it's just disappointing.
Yeah, it'll just waste about 30 seconds because we'll have to get the backup one.
I did not see one, so most likely gonna have to pick up the backup one. There's like one last chance. I've never relied on it. I don't think I've ever actually seen it come through either, so I'm very skeptical as to whether or not it'll work. Oh, that was bad timing on my behalf. I used the Firestorm finisher right as Magnera ran out, and it,
Oh yeah, that'll send all the tank topplers to DM. Well, not all of them, but
yeah,
any of them that it hits.
yeah, in the right spot.
Yeah.
Basically, tank topplers will go into their DM if you hit them from the front, and at that point, they're no longer damageable.
And you miss out on the EXP.
You miss out on the EXP, and they explode at the end of it. So it's just kind of an unfortunate combo of things. If you hit them from the back, though, like, they kind of have like a pressure gauge kind of looking thing, or like a pressure wheel. So if you like hit them in the front, they inflate a bit slowly. If you hit them in the back, they deflate a bit. So it's one of those things where in casual plays you can kind of take advantage of that, or with one of the extra like fun kind of enemy things where you have to just hit it in the back over and over again. It kind of makes the mechanic more understandable. Oh, hey, that's a nice plus. I got a fleeting drop. I think that means I might be able to skip the chest.
Yeah, you can skip the chest. And
Since I didn't, since I didn't use any on the Magneras.
Magneras, yeah.
But we're not seeing any shimmering drops. Oh well. Might just be... Yep, okay. No shimmering drops. Gonna have to take the 30-second hit.
Yeah.
And there is a pause of shame.
Gotta be at least one.
Always has to be one in a BBS run. I'm amazed I've gone this long without one.
Mm-hmm.
It always used to be the Dwarves minigame cutscene. I always thought that was a skippable cutscene. And then recently, when I came back to this category, it was the Deep Space hallway forest fight.
Oh yeah, I always pause on them.
I mean, it's like a little cinematic, so you would expect, like,
Yeah.
this is time to skip, but surprisingly not.
Coming up on the best part of the run.
Oh yeah, time for Disney Town with its wonderful minigame Ice Cream Beat. Recently I've been doing that minigame without any sound coming out of the TV. Makes things a little bit harder, but a little bit more fun.
Yeah.
But I've realized how important it is to have game sound during the final part of the run, so I've stopped doing that.
Yeah, game sound can be a little important sometimes.
Especially during, like, the Ventus fights.
Yeah.
Gives you a little bit of a hint of what he's doing. He doesn't project too well, but...
It still helps.
yeah. Any little bit helps.
Yeah. Especially with those fights, because they're kind of meh.
Yeah. Yeah, the Ventus one fight that you guys saw earlier where he dodged, or where he had the ability to dodge a lot of stuff. It's just the beginning.
Yeah, that's nothing compared to the final two.
Yeah. I think my PV still has a death to Final Vanitas. Or
You can do a lot of damage.
yeah, or it's either my PV or my PB with this route. It's just a frustrating monstrosity to deal with for sure. But getting that out of the way, here's the ice cream beat minigame. Gonna let you guys enjoy It's a Small World.
Yeah, anyone who thinks that this is not the best part of the run, you're wrong.
It's such a nice, like, relaxing segment, too.
Yeah.
At this point, I can just afford to not do well on this. I'm just gonna let it miss, because I don't need a big tower. I scored what I needed to score, and still got a 3-meter tower. That's actually something I just remembered that I forgot to bring up in the at the beginning of the run. So, at the end of Disney Town, depending on the setup of your profile, you can get extra cutscenes. Basically, the rule for it is, I think you get the most extra cutscenes when you have all 3 files completed, Terra, Ven, and Aqua. You get the fewest amount of extra cutscene or fewest amount of cutscenes in Disney Town if you have 1 file completed that's not the character that you're running. So on my profile, you might have caught a glimpse of it. I have an Aqua run completed or an Aqua playthrough completed, but Terra and Ven are both marked as or both not marked as completed, I guess, because it's not marked as incomplete. That's like something like a 45-second time save if you have all of them versus none of them.
Yeah, depending on load times.
Yeah, load times make a huge difference in this game, and having extra cutscenes as a result has a big difference, or a big impact.
Yeah. And this fight's basically you Magnera, and then you want to get in the Firestorm.
Yeah, so it's a lot of like the same kind of theme of using Firestorm to kill groups of enemies and using Magnera and Fyra to kill groups of enemies.
And one of the only real problems in this fight is Zack and her can take your EXP, but that's not usually that much of a problem because when they're in the magnet, usually you're the only one who can kill them.
Yeah. Yeah, usually you kill them before Zack or Herc can do too much. Perfect, I timed my shot locks perfectly. I should hopefully finish this room off in one go. Nope. Oh, there we go, yeah. Perfect right at the end. Pretty sure that was the... Oh, not quite the last fireball, but one of the last ones.
Yeah, and this is one of the points where you really start to see your damage going down without having all 3 fire boosts.
Yeah. Right now I only have 1. Most runs will have 2 by this point. I don't think I've ever... Or I'm sure I've seen a run, but I don't think I've ever had a run that's had 3 fire boosts at this point in the run.
Yeah, because we don't do... I don't think we do the menus. We you've never done the menus where you can get 3 at this point?
Yeah, I mean, you can optionally meld the the third fire with
Yeah.
fire boost whenever you want. I think in the notes for it, it says that you can equip the third fire over Kira for Trinity armor if you happen to have 3 fire boosts. I don't know on what planet that's ever happened, though.
Yeah, that's getting all 3 that early kind of doesn't really happen.
You'd have to, yeah, just have incredible luck.
Yeah.
So this is like another really chill part of the run, the Urns minigame. The first part of it is just a really simple thing, so I think you have to get like 15 urns
Yeah, you
broken.
get 15, and then it doesn't matter how many he kills.
Yeah.
As long as you get 15, you're good.
So I'm gonna
And then you pretty much,
yeah, I'm gonna dodge roll around a little bit afterward just to gain some free experience, because every dodge roll is, I think, 3 experience.
something like that, yeah. Because we want to get enough EXP to get to level 20 for
Before
the final
Hook.
battles.
Oh, before
Oh,
final
yeah, well,
fights.
before Hook.
Yeah.
Hook.
I usually like
you
to have
got-
it before Hook, but
Yeah.
then the second Urns minigame is the one where it gets really frustrating, because basically the rule is you have to score higher than Hook. Or Herc.
Hook.
And, can be a problem sometimes. Most of the time I've never actually run into that as a big challenge, but I've definitely seen runs happen where Herc decides he wants to stop you from doing everything. It's especially bad if he steals the barrel that you can roll around on, which he just did to me. Cool, Herc. This is why I call him Herc the Jerk. He just likes to take stuff from you and not really give anything back. Fortunately, that he picked it up in a pretty empty area, so it wasn't a huge gain, or he didn't make any huge gains. Oh wow, he broke my barrel. Son of a gun. And so there's 2 different types of barrels here. There's the explosive one and the lighter one that you can roll around on. The explosive one also has this nice added benefit of if you hit Herc with it, it stuns him for like a second. It also stuns you though if you get hit by the explosion, like I just did. So kind of want to line it up so that you can hit it pretty far, or hit it right at Herc and not be in its way. Fortunately, Herc also just tends not to do too much. He doesn't usually end up being a super active attacker. Like right now, he's standing against the pillar, or he was, so it tends to be a pretty easy thing. I'm gonna see if I can get this little graphics bug here, this little camera. Did I get it? No, I didn't get it. I don't know exactly how to do it. I remember seeing people do it with the Ven crit runs, but if you use Magnera like right at the end of that fight, I think you just have to be in the magnet camera lock. It does some really weird things with the end, like you win graphic. And I think it has something to do with the way that Magnet changes the camera view whenever you use it. It kind of untargets enemies and centers the camera on you and does some interesting stuff with it. And so as a result, the camera lock just messes with the like challenge complete camera.
Also, sometimes when you get like the little fade out after you beat a fight, sometimes you can like move around and stuff if you do certain things. Kind of weird.
Yeah.
This is where he's gonna make the other fire boost.
Yeah.
With the fire boost. And then we're gonna put the binding strikes on to get them leveled up.
Yeah, at this point, all of the experience we get, we want to use to leveling up the last commands that aren't leveled up that we need, which are the binding strikes and this last Fyra. We're gonna get a majority of it right here on this last fight for the world, fighting against a huge swarm of jelly shades. And then we get a bit more of it in deep space. After that, you don't really need to worry about getting any more experience in terms of, I guess, CP. And Magnera just clears out this whole fight, so it's a nice thing. And you'll see me walking around a little bit, because I don't think the game can handle actually having rendered that many enemies, so it kind of shows them in a giant swarm, and but none of them or the majority of them aren't actually rendered until they're within a certain radius of you, but that radius is smaller than the radius that Magnera can affect.
Sorry.
So you kind of walk around to force some of them to spawn in, and it pulls them in and one-shots them.
You also saw Abandon wasn't cartwheeling around at all, because if you hit square, you'll get Herc's reaction command, and that's... I don't know what it does, but it's a lot slower than just walking around and using Magnera.
Yeah, he spins you around and tosses you. It's I've done it once in a run, back when I first started learning the category.
Yeah.
It's really useless.
Mm-hmm.
Now we have the Giant Unversed, aka Metamorphosis 1. It's the only time we have the glider battle mechanic in this run. It kind of feels like something that they incorporated to be really cool, and then never made use of. And it's really disappointing, because I feel like the mechanics,
Better, yeah.
they could have been better, and they could have made more use of it. It would have been a really cool thing if there were more fights using it. If you were traveling between worlds, and it was almost like a gummy ship kind of thing. But instead they just kind of make it a really short little interactive fight, and then you never have to do it again. I think you do end up using the glider to get around deep space a little bit more. If you go outside of the places where you need to go, or if you want to explore it after you finish the world. Say to get all the chests or something, but with regards to a speedrun, there's no need to ever see those gliders again. So now we're going to equip the second to last Keyblade, Mark of a Hero. And we're going to equip Air Slide. I always forget the second command, or the command to put in there. I always want to equip something in the commands deck. Mark of the Hero is, I think, the first Keyblade you get that has 5 strength, and
Yeah.
you would think that 5 strength is not a huge deal since you get strength boosts over time. For whatever reason, this 5 strength Keyblade, just like in Aqua's run, the Keyblade you need for final fights is, or in Aqua Beginner, is Pixie Petal, which has, I think, 6 magic. That high of a number is surprisingly powerful. You end up doing chip damage on final fights in Aqua Beginner if you don't have Pixie Petal, and likewise with this fight. When you don't if you leave Treasure Trove equipped, you're kind of just praying to get critical hits on enemies, which doesn't work out too well.
So the goal of these fights is to get Wing Blade, which the finisher does a lot of damage. You can wipe out a whole wave right when it spawns in.
Yeah, it clears out a room really nicely.
And sometimes the game's a little finicky with giving you Wing Blade. You're supposed to get into Firestorm and then use a magnet, but sometimes it can just not give it to you.
Yeah, I've had multiple times where it's just decided it wants to give me either Heat Slash or give me the Firestorm finisher. What on earth? Did you just watch for a second and see the fleeting drops that I'm about to get? These enemies are really being frustrating and don't want to get into Wingblade or into the Magnera.
Yeah,
I think I got 2 fleeting drops right there.
Yeah.
So I definitely don't need to get the chest anymore. I can have four attack haste for final fights, which will be a nice little bonus. Man, now I would have been okay to take the risk and make a Magnera with magic haste, but Hindsight
Yeah.
being 2020, I guess, and that whole cliche. So now this should be the last shop of the run. We buy 2 fire surges, because again, fire surge is definitely the most broken command of the game, and we sell any extra commands and 1 of the Magneras to make sure we have enough money.
Yeah. I think we also buy a Kira here.
Yeah, we'd buy Akira.
Yeah, because we go into end fights with 2 Kiras.
Yeah, and that makes a huge difference. And then we're gonna equip a quick ether for the upcoming boss fight.
Yeah, the ether that Ben picked up all the way back in Castle of Dreams was just a safety ether, just in case he didn't get any drops throughout the run.
Yeah, which I've actually
I've
had
runs where you don't get one.
Yeah, I've had runs where I've just decided I'm gonna skip this ether. That exact run was the run I didn't get an ether drop, and I was just like, you're kidding me, game.
Yeah.
Every other run I've
I've
had like
8.
yeah, I've had
8 ethers. Like I've had a lot.
I've had so many. I've had like 3 to 4 pretty consistently. This run I had 3.
Yeah.
I think the most I've seen is like 7. So yeah, pretty close to what you've had.
Yeah.
I'm hoping I'm remembering this right, that the fire surge is the chest on the right.
I'm pretty sure it is.
Yeah, it is. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm so used to needing to pick up the fleeting crystal.
Yeah.
Ooh. The game, the loading screen, the heart stopped spinning for a second, and I was really worried that I just had a crash, but fortunately that did not happen. So now we're going into Metamorphosis 2. We're just gonna spam the living daylights out of Flame Salvo. And hope that Stitch also helps out, which Stitch started to help out. Oh, he's actually being really nice. He's taking a few shots, which is huge plus. I feel like Stitch is like really the major damage dealer for this fight.
Yeah, he can do a lot of damage.
Oh my goodness, I'm just screwing this up. And
Like
Stitch
his
is...
damage can decide if you do the fight in 2, Flame Salvos to 3.
Yeah.
Because he can do just that much damage.
Yeah, this is gonna be a... Okay, that was 3. With 2 fire boosts, you're pretty consistently gonna get 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Unless Stitch really goes in. With 3 fire boosts, there are definitely times where if Stitch is really nice, you can get a 2 shot lock Metamorphosis. Just one of the many RNG elements of this run. So I find it really funny when in between worlds, the game kind of like, if there's only one world left to go to, the game still hovers over to it and is like, hey, if this world's open now, like, you would think that it should be pretty intuitive that, hey, there's only one world open right now, I should probably go there, or one new world open. This is probably the place to go to, but it likes to add those extra animations in. And it's only like a few seconds, so it's not like it's the biggest difference in the world.
Yeah, now we get to make some fire surges, so we can have like a full deck of fire surges
Yeah.
and just spam them, because they're pretty broken.
Yeah, we're gonna go into an upcoming forced fight with a deck full of fire surges, except for 1 Magnera. And the Magnera just makes it easy to get back into Winged Blade like we were talking about earlier. And I really don't care about where my Magnera is placed in my deck there, because it just doesn't make that big of a difference to me. I know some people can be really particular about making sure that the one extra, like, non-conforming command is either at the top or the bottom of their deck. To me,
Yeah,
since
I'm all about that.
the deck is cyclical, it just doesn't make a huge difference. because you can just decide, I want the start of my commands to be right here for this fight, and it works out. I will say though, the one nice thing about having a command at the top or the bottom is like, you can use left on the D-pad to go right back to it, the top of the deck.
Yeah, it's really convenient.
Yeah. Definitely a huge plus.
Like when I found out you could do that, I was amazed.
Yeah, I haven't made too many uses of it, but it's definitely a nice thing to have.
I do it all the time for like Kira when I'm in like an emergency.
That's fair, yeah. So we just hit level 19 at the beginning of the fight. Hopefully we see level 20 or close to it by the end. I'm not actually sure how close we'll be.
You want to be like a little under 150 after this fight.
Okay.
So
Then yeah, I should be fine.
you should be fine. You might have to kill one monkey, but that doesn't take two.
Yeah. I've definitely had to kill more than one in other runs, so that's not a huge concern. I usually like to see that I hit level 20 at the end of it, but
Yeah.
that's just for like a calming the miners kind of thing.
I used to like to get it in this fight so that you could actually like do damage, but or your speed just doesn't work out like that anymore.
Yeah, no. It's a bit unfortunate, but I mean, you still do a decent amount of damage.
Yeah.
It just takes like a couple of fire surges to get through most enemies. So I'm gonna use a couple of fire surges, and then a shot lock, and hopefully this will finish off most of the rest of the fight. Yeah, this should do it.
Yeah, we saved the Wingblade finisher to damage all three of these guys at the same time.
Oh dang, I don't think the third guy got hit at all, but whatever.
Yeah, sometimes that happens.
133 to next level. I guess we'll see where I am in the last room before Hook.
You'll probably have to dodge roll for like a quick couple of seconds at the beginning of Hook, but you should be fine.
Yeah. I'll just kind of try to keep count mentally, because I'll need 44, 45, something like that dodge rolls if it's 3 per.
Yeah.
It would be nice if it like scaled to your level, but then it would make it a really broken command or ability. If like at higher levels you got more experience per roll.
Yeah, that would be insane. Yeah, so now we just gotta walk all the way over to Hook, and hopefully Abandon can hit level 20 by the time he gets to Hook.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to do an extra monkey kill. Oh shoot. Whatever. Gonna kill a mushroom guy instead because I accidentally, or a jelly shade because I accidentally slid backwards instead of forward.
You only need a little bit of
Yeah, I
experience, so
was.
that's not that bad.
Now I should be fine. Yeah. Just a few rolls before walking into the fight.
Mhm.
So Hook is a bit of a weird fight in my opinion. I don't know about you, but
Mhm.
sometimes he can be really nice and just kind of not block any of your attacks. But toward the later part of the fight, he has a pretty decent chance of just like either countering or just standing there and blocking, and you can't really damage him while he's blocking, so I usually end up like walking away from him for that short period of time and just trying to bait him out of that decision. Sometimes he can also just... Oh, go ahead.
Sometimes you can kind of walk behind him and hit him from the back, but he gets up like that sometimes.
Yeah, I've had him block it way too many times. He can also just like choose to ignore the what should be stun lock, or you know, hit stun, and block in the middle of his one of your attacks, and so you get like a few hits off of Fire Surge, but then he's just sitting there like immune. Gonna try
Sometimes you can have like a perfect fight, like just like up like last like F2 bar, you just block every attack for like a large amount of time at the very end.
Yeah, I personally like to try to keep him chasing after me, because that way he's not as likely to be going straight into blocking. But that was actually a really solid fight.
Yeah, that was good.
This could actually be a really good run, looking at the current time. Depending on how well Ventus 2 goes, I guess. Because Ventus 3 is generally a pretty flat time. So we'll just have to pray, I guess, that Ventus 2 is nice to us. But first we've got a long series of cutscenes to skip. Cutscenes, a couple of short movement bits, and then more cutscenes.
Yeah, it's either 13 or 15 cutscenes that you skip before you actually have like, or before you actually do anything.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like the short little experience in oh, I can't think of the name.
Tower.
And yeah, Yensid's Tower.
Yeah.
You do like
2 dodge rolls.
basically. And then you go back to skipping cutscenes. And then you travel between worlds and skip more cutscenes and do that, rinse and repeat a couple of times, and then suddenly it's time to go into final fights. It's really weird the way they structured that. Like, they could have just had them all be one continuous set of cutscenes,
Yeah.
if you asked me. But
There's a lot of situations where it should have been like that.
yeah, there's definitely a lot of those.
So we're actually coming up close to the end here. There's only 2 more fights.
Yeah, 2 more fights and a little bit of movement before that, which hopefully should not be a problem at all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to say it won't be, because I've had 2 or 3 different times where I've said it's not going to be a big deal and then gotten picked up by tornadoes. But it shouldn't be a big issue. I think there's one more cutscene now. One or 2. Looks like 2. Yep. Right. You get the little Ven grabbing his head, remembering something, and then you get the lost memory keyblade. Haha, it's a good little pun there. And now we've learned that the Badlands is actually the Keyblade Graveyard in the biggest plot twist of history.
Oh my god.
Who would have ever guessed that this desolate world that the big bad evil has been spending a lot of time in is actually one of the most plot relevant places. Alright, cool. The tornadoes were not a problem. We basically take like a little not really a route per se, but a vague path there between, or from tornado to tornado, kind of getting in the dust cloud of each of them, like just that little bit of spiraling dust at the very edge of it. Because it won't pull you in from there, and for whatever reason, if one tornado is coming after you, and another one decides to chase after you, that's closer to you, then the first one will just kind of stop. It's weird thinking of tornadoes as something that can think and choose, but these are tornadoes of darkness or something, so it works out. Now we're gonna do a little bit of a brag skip, as the meme used to be called. Just like Rox's skip in KH2. In Aqua's story, you fight Braig at this point in time, but Aqua jumps in and decides to fight Braig instead for you. And then she beats Braig, and you see Braig falling against the wall. And then suddenly it's time to actually fight Ventus. I think I would prefer fighting Braig over Ventus any day, but it works out. So here's Ventus 2. He's probably my least favorite fight of the entire game. He can dodge basically any attack at will. So like Hook can get out of hit stun and decide he's gonna block. Ventus can just get out of hit stun and decide, I'm gonna dodge this attack midway through your fire. Or even at the very beginning of it, like right as it would hit him, he just decides, nah. So it's a really unfortunate when that happens. We're gonna try to just play it a bit safely, because he hits kinda hard, and also effectively, if we can just keep him... Oh. This is a bit nerve-wracking.
Yeah, sometimes I try to dodge roll away and then fire surge into him.
Yeah, same.
Something usually tends to hit him, but sometimes he gets a teleport out of it.
Yeah, he does. He usually, if you're further away, he'll get hit by at least the first couple of hits, but it's iffy. Sometimes he just decides that he doesn't want that to happen.
Also, a good way to get off a lot of damage is to use the Firestorm finisher when he finishes his, like, dives.
Oh, goodness, this is bad. He got on the Keyblade and I... Oh, goodness. I'm gonna have to figure out what to do here. Just gonna have to dodge around a bit, I think. Let this kind of DM finish. Because I can't do anything about this. I didn't get into my shot lock at the... Or I didn't have my shot lock at the ready. But this is really unfortunate. Oh, okay, I hit him out of it at the very end of it, I'm pretty sure, but... Oh, he's about to be dead. There we go, okay. Ooh, this is actually going to be really tight. I could sub 120 with this run. If Ventus 3 goes really well.
Oh god, the battery on the controller?
Yeah.
Not like this.
I'm trying to think of where I have an extra plug during these cutscenes.
If you have a really solid fight, you can sub 120.
Come on, plug. Don't die on me, controller. Skipped that cutscene a little late because I was looking for the plug, but okay, we saved it. We plugged in, boys. Whew. That was a little frightening, because I've seen too many, I've seen the video where Shib was on Final Zemnis in KH2, and the controller died way too many times.
So this fight, in my opinion, is a lot better than Ventus 1 because, for the most part, he's getting hit by all three parts of your fire surge a lot more consistently.
Yeah, it's a lot more reliable, and he can't really damage you too much unless you're, like, not smart in how you handle the fight. But, like, I remember when I learned from, I think it was Rebel, that you can just single hit him over and over again, and he just, for whatever reason, on this version of the fight, on Vanitas 3, he just can basically be stun-locked the entire time. So I definitely enjoy this fight a lot more.
Playtime's over.
I'm gonna have to listen for a second.
Darkness wins.
Okay, he went right into an attack, so this is fine. Hopefully this works out.
So yeah, there's still a minigame at the end. Luckily the game actually restores your health, which it does not do in the little minigame at the end of Dream Drop Distance.
Yeah.
We're lucky in this game. And basically you want to bait him with a shot lock, and just hopefully he'll retaliate into your shot lock.
Oh, this is gonna be sub 120. It's gonna be so close, but not quite.
I think you're gonna PB still.
Yeah, I'm still gonna PB. My PB's 120.43 or something like that. So this is, unless he does the thing. Nope, we're fine. 120.06. Oh, so close, but that was a good run.
Yeah, that was a good run.
I'm really happy with that. So that was Ventus's story beginner, any percent. Later on in the marathon, you'll see Ven Crit run by
Rebel Dragon.
Okay, I couldn't remember for whatever reason.
And other BBS categories you'll see Terra Crit and then Terra Beginner.
Yeah, Terra Beginner is going to be a race between Sonic and KH Fan here, who's been commentating this.
Yeah, we're closing out the marathon.
Yeah, that's a really exciting race because I remember you guys were duking it back and forth for the.
Yeah, we were swapping record for a long time.
I think my game crashed after I skipped that cutscene. That's BBS. That's a perfect way to end a BBS run. All right. So thank you all for sticking around for this interesting run. This has been Ven Beginner. AbandonTheMyriad, I guess, signing off.